So Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot, his nephew, with him, into the Negev, the south country of Judah. Now Abram was extremely rich in livestock and in silver and in gold. He journeyed on from the Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, where he had first built an altar. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord in prayer. But Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. Now the land was not able to support them, that is, sustain all their grazing and water needs, while they lived near one another, for their possessions were too great for them to stay together. And there was strife and quarreling between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. Now the Canaanite and the Perizzite were living in the land at that same time, making grazing of the livestock difficult. So Abram said to Lot, "Please, let there be no strife and disagreement between you and me, nor between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, because we are relatives. Is not the entire land before you? Please, separate yourself from me. If you take the left, then I will go to the right. Or if you choose the right, then I will go to the left." So Lot looked and saw that the valley of the Jordan was well watered everywhere. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was all like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you go to Zoar at the south end of the Dead Sea. Then Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and he traveled east. So they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot settled in the cities of the valley, and camped as far as Sodom, and lived there. Abraham was the boss, and Lot was his nephew, that he took along with him on his faith journey. Lot had possessions because of Abraham's magnanimity. Now, when the staff of Abraham and Lot had a misunderstanding because of a grazing field, Abraham would have simply asked Lot to leave, but in the spirit of humility, he allowed Lot to pick the more fertile grazing field, and he chose what was left. This is not easy by all human standards, but it takes a humble man who loves peace and hates strife to make that choice. Psalms 25, 9-10 AMP. He leads the humble in justice, and he teaches the humble his way. All the paths of the Lord are loving kindness and goodness and truth and faithfulness to those who keep his covenant and his testimonies. God is always on the side of the humble man, while he resists the proud. James 4, 6-7 AMP says, "But he gives us more and more grace, through the power of the Holy Spirit, to defy sin and live an obedient life that reflects both our faith and our gratitude for our salvation. Therefore, it says, God is opposed to the proud and haughty, but continually gives the gift of grace to the humble, who turn away from self-righteousness. So, submit to the authority of God. Resist the devil. Stand firm against him, and he will flee from you." Lot had the opportunity to choose the path of humility by staying loyal to Abraham in order to continue to enjoy the covering and blessings of God on Abraham. But he left and suffered the consequences of his decision. Genesis 19, 14-26 AMP says, "So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who were betrothed and legally promised to marry his daughters, and said, 'Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy this city.' But to his sons-in-law he appeared to be joking. When morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Get up, take your wife and 2 daughters who are here and go, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But Lot hesitated and lingered. The men took hold of his hand and the hand of his wife and the hands of his 2 daughters, because the Lord was merciful to him, for Abraham's sake. And they brought him out and left him outside the city with his family. When they had brought them outside, one of the angels said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you or stop anywhere in the entire valley. Escape to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away." But Lot said to them, "Oh no, not that place, my lords. Please listen. Your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, mercy to me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, because the disaster will overtake me, and I will be killed. Now look, this town in the distance is near enough for us to flee to, and it is small, with only a few people. Please, let me escape there. Is it not small, so that my life will be saved?" And the angels said to him, "Behold, I grant you this request also. I will not destroy this town of which you have spoken. Hurry and take refuge there, for I cannot do anything to punish Sodom until you arrive there." For this reason, the town was named Zoar, few, small. The sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Lord rained down brimstone, flaming sulfur, and fire on Sodom and on Gomorrah, from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew, demolished, ended those cities, and the entire valley, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife, from behind him, foolishly, longingly, looked back towards Sodom in an act of disobedience, and she became a pillar of salt.